Okay, so in this video I'd like to cover how to do week 1 classwork. And week 1 classwork will really introduce you to Blackboard at a little more level than we did in the welcome video, and talk about how the grades work in Blackboard related to this item, and we'll cover that as we cover each item subsequent to this. So understanding this item, really, because it's week 1 classwork, is going to give you short videos for all the other items in this class. I know, classwork, right? So let's just actually turn to the screen and take a look. So in Blackboard, okay, in our course, I talked about last time the importance of the calendar, right? So being able to get to items, and you can see that this is the first item due in the semester, and then the next item due is actually a hands-on assignment. Now they both say week 1, and that's because week 1 starts on a Monday and ends on a Monday. So you will have week 1 work that spans Thursday and Monday, and that's just the way it works, and you'll get used to that. Okay, so I'm going to come over here. I showed you before, right? Classwork, go to the assignment, it takes you right there. Okay, and we'll go over this in a minute. But I haven't done anything yet, so I don't have to do any kind of saving yet. So, but I'm going to show you the alternative way to get in here. I'm going to go to Classwork, and then inside of Classwork you can see that there are you can actually see how many, 17 of them. And they may look like they all have the same instruction, but they don't. So in this case, when you click, you open that, and this is continued from that welcome video, a Google Doc that I have the instruction. Okay, so what do you need to do? You need to watch all the videos below, so there'll be a link for each one of these, and then take notes in Blackboard, and each video needs a new heading. So I'll walk you through how to do that, and just point out some other things along the way. So now back in Blackboard, which by the way, Shift Tab is really nice here, because, or sorry, Control Tab, because it'll take you to the tabs that you have opened. Which, speaking of which, you know, one of the things I'll suggest to you during our time together is that, how do you be successful? Well, I'll tell you how I am successful at times when I know I really need to focus and get something done, is I come over here and I shut off Facebook, or I shut off whatever else it is that can be distracting to me, because those things really can suck a tremendous amount of time. And if you focus, get stuff done, allow yourself some time, but learn how to balance that. I think that's something we all get to learn in this technology-based and social networking world. Okay, so again, I showed you here how you can go into the calendar, or you can go directly into classwork by coming over to the course menu. And it's basically the same thing. The difference is in the calendar, it takes you right to that item, which is a nice feature. I actually really like it. Again, I like the way the calendar works in our class. I really like using it. I've gotten nothing but great feedback. Okay, and I already have it open. Okay, so what we need to do is, you're going to watch videos, right? So let's just start. This first one is actually part of what you have to take notes on, right? And this is a kind of a common thing you see in classwork, although there will be a variety of things that we do here. So let me just show you. You can see here a due date. You can see how many points is possible. You can see attach a file. Don't do that unless I instruct you to. There's only a couple times during the semester I have you do that. And this comment is really if you want to make a comment to me directly about something about the assignment. There'll be times I'll have you make comments, but you'll do those in your submission. So text submission is really what you do to write your work during this first couple of weeks. We may change this as the semester goes on, but we'll see how that goes. So I'm going to click on write submission, and when I do that, it opens up this nice little edit box with these nice little things to change your content. So I'm going to do classwork and type it, click drag across it, come over, and this is what I mean by heading, and then make it like a 5. You can make it a 4 if you want, and then click off of it. Okay, so that is from here on out, when I say make a heading, that's what I mean, right? Type the text, select heading, give it at least, you know, something above a 4, and you can even give it a color, which is kind of fun as well if you want. And now I'm going to hit return. Notice when I hit return in my particular browser, which by the way, I use most of the time, okay, all the time, I use Chrome. I found it to be the most productive for me. I found it to keep me the safest. I have found for both for both Blackboard and in the important My IT Lab. It seems to work well, so I recommend you use Chrome as well if you're not already using it. Firefox is fine as well. I do not recommend using Internet Explorer. Quite frankly, even the government has said recently maybe you ought to not use Internet Explorer because of some of the issues with it. So back to Classwork though. So here in Classwork, what you'll be doing is taking notes, and you might wonder, well, what kind of things would I do? It's major concepts, right? So in this case, these actually do work, the bullet points and the numbered list. To me, they do sometimes work a little funky. Did you notice how when I was in here, matter of fact, I'm going to use my making fonts larger in my browser to show this. Okay, so notice how when I come down in here though, sometimes I've noticed that this happens and I'm like, what? Okay, so you might wonder, well, how do I get down in there? Because when I type, it doesn't. So I'm going to show you something that's kind of fun for you to actually start learning, which is HTML. This is something you're going to learn in this class. So over here, I'm just going to type S. And notice it's the LI, the span, and it's between these two, and it actually has to be there, okay? So notice when I do that, then it puts some content on there. I'm sure there's another way to do this, right? So I'm sure that you could probably figure out as well major concepts here, right? And we'll probably collectively figure out another way to do this. But the other thing about this is notice it's still that large font. So let's make it like a 3 so it makes a normal, right? So major concepts. So what have we talked about so far? We've talked about classwork. We've talked about using the calendar or going directly through the menu. We've talked about headings, which are important. So I would want to see, you know, at least some bullet points there on those particular topics, okay? So let's go back here. So I'm going to do this. Now that I've started classwork, and I recommend you periodically do this in Blackboard, is you do a save as draft. Okay? So in your notes, one of the things I want to tell you is that when you're working on classwork, that work is submitted between you and I. Other students don't see your work when you're doing classwork. When you're doing hands-on, they will. When you're doing My IT Lab, they won't. And when you're doing chapter quizzes, they won't. So it's only in the hands-on that everyone sees the work you submit. But in the classwork, they don't. Okay? So notice as we're looking here, we see some information once I hit save as draft. Okay, so this item, and this shows in progress. Matter of fact, it says attempt in progress. If that comes through in the video, it might not. But when I move my mouse over it, you can see that. Okay, so I'm going to go over here to my grade just to show you something. Okay, so in this case, my grade is listed by due date. So the thing we're working on shows up. Oh, here's the in progress, right? Shows you the due date, right? Oh, sorry, this is the activity date. This is not the due date. Due date's over here. Okay, so it shows I've started. So how do I get back? I go back to classwork, right? I go back into the item. You might be able to get to it through gradebook. And because I have a continue, it actually will just open that back up and place me back where I started. Okay, so this, let's see if it'll actually let me go. Oh, it does allow me to go there. So let me just say it this way, if you find you're having some challenges with the bullets, you can't always do this. Let's see if tab works. No, maybe space works. Okay, so here's what I did is I just put, let me show you both. I just put both spaces and spaces to space it over. This is honestly why probably in a couple weeks into the semester I'll end up having you switch to Google Docs for all your note taking, and it'll have one document where we share it. And the reason is that Google Docs just works better for this kind of stuff than Blackboard, and it saves it automatically as soon as you type. Another reason we might want to use something like Google Docs, because it's the collaboration and the way it works. Okay, so if for some reason you have problems with those, just do that. Matter of fact, I'm going to do Control-Z here just to kind of get back where I was. There we go. All right, so in this case, what are you going to do? Let's go back over here. So you'll end up watching and creating a heading for each one of these topics, okay? So once you're finished with this video, which we're almost 10 minutes in, I limit all video to 15 minutes, okay? So in your notes, you can actually put that right now, right? So that would be something in here, right? No video length, and say something about that. Okay, so that's the way this works. So then when you want to go to your next topic, what you can do is turn this off, right? And so our next topic up, I think, would be My IT Lab. Okay, so what you will do, let me just say this again, let's do a heading so you get used to it. Select it, make it a heading, Make it something like 4 or 5 to make it consistent. And then you will do this. So you will not submit this work until you've completed all the videos in this series. Okay? So all the notes will go into here. All right? Does that make sense? Watch all the videos, take the notes, do a heading for each one, and it even shows you over here how it's graded. There we go. Okay, so you can see that. All right, so just because I want you to see now, I haven't completed it, right? But I want you to see how it shows up when you do submit. I'm going to hit submit here. Okay, so something new here, get start new. This start new indicates really that I can do it again. Now, let's actually talk about why you might want to do it again. Let's go to my grade and see the difference. So in this case, we went from in progress to needs grading. What that means is now Rio has to go in and grade, and when I do that, you will see a score. Okay? But let's say you knew even before that, me grading it, you knew, oh, sorry, my bad. Click on there to get into week 1. You knew you had missed some stuff here. Okay? So what you can do is you can start new. So when you start new here, right, what you have to do is in this last, I will grade, and this goes in your notes, right? So think about this. I will grade only the last submission. Any other submissions besides the last one, I will delete, because I'm assuming A, the last one is the right one. B, you've included everything that was included in those other submissions, so the last one has to be complete. So in your notes, you can do multiple submissions, but Rio will delete any besides the last one, and everything has to be in the last submission. Okay? All right. So that's the way Classwork works. That's the way you do it. Now, what do we cover in Classwork? Well, this week you're learning about the course. In the next couple of weeks, it'll be either me here in the classroom, which, by the way, if you want to see, this is me in the classroom, right? So, or you will have something I've provided you to watch. Matter of fact, one of the things I'm fairly sure in the next couple of weeks we will collectively watch is something called Humanity from Space. I watched it on PBS. It was amazing. It really covered some of the things I try to help students understand about the context of the world that we live in. So what you will see in the next couple of weeks is in some of the future classworks, you will see that I have provided links to that, and you will watch a certain amount of, and I'll tell you how much time, but it's the same concept, right? Watching video, taking notes. There will be times, and I'm getting close to the end here, there will be times that you actually have some work besides taking notes and other things. There'll be little mini projects sometimes I'll want to do, like we do a My Grade spreadsheet, really important. So sometimes classwork and hands-on can look a little the same because you're doing work that you're actually then showing me the work that you've done. Okay, let me think. Let's see if there's anything else besides this that I wanted to cover here. I don't think so. I showed you in this video how to get into classwork using the calendar. Talked about the browser. I talked about, the external links to the Google Docs. I showed you what you need to do for this first one. Showed you what shows up in Blackboard. Okay, I think that's pretty much it. So we'll drop it there and we'll pick it up on the next one.